So I was taking the shower like I usually do every day, and you have shower thoughts. I was thinking about participation trophies, and I think about how older generations kind of see participation trophies as a bad thing against society, younger generations, and the fact that participation trophies are basically given to anybody that's on a team, whether they win or they lose or whatever. It could be someone that's just sitting on the bench that doesn't do anything, and even if their team loses, they still get a ribbon or a trophy or whatever. Now, older generations see this as some type of assault on the growth and development of younger people, thinking that when they get out into the real world, they're going to fall flat on their face because they expect an award for doing nothing, and they're going to be entitled, and they're going to be like all this stuff. There's just whatever. And then there's the other side where people say, hey, kids growing up now, they're already having, so many things happening, and the low self-esteem, and just trying to even get them going. Let's give them something regardless of what happens to boost their morale, and because it's a bad world out there. I don't have a dog in the fight. I got participation ribbons when I was in karate as a kid, and I never understood it. I just wanted to be a ninja, and I would go to these competitions, and I would never get a medal, and at the end of the thing you'd get this participant ribbon, and I never felt proud of it. I didn't feel like I didn't see it as anything at all, so it didn't have any effect on me whatsoever. But there are some older generations that'll just sit there, and that is the thing that is on their mind the most, is seeing people they're not related to, they don't know, their existence doesn't even conflict with their existence, but they want to start complaining about these kids these days and their participant ribbons, you millennials. And what's funny is, like, there's always that blanket term of all millennials are this, or we all eat granola, and we live in a big city, and we never have worked a day in our lives with our hands. My hands are cracked, okay, brother? I've worked in sheet metal fabrication plants. I've pushed carts. I've done jobs that probably some of these people that are older than me would never, think or fathom think of doing in their entire lives. They'll think they're too good for it. So to put a blanket term on older generations, calling them boomers or whatever, or the younger generations, the millennials, the zoomers or whatever, people need to stop it. We're all living in this world. It is crazy. It is bad. Sometimes it's good. We're all just trying to deal with things the best way we can. And while I'm still taking this shower, I was thinking, participant trophies. I got one as a kid, and that was in the 90s. Were there kids my generation making these trophies to give to me? Or were the older people in the prior generations that are complaining about participant trophies now were the ones that made them to give to the kids? It's like I really don't get it. The people, the generation that created participant ribbons, participant trophies, are the ones that are complaining about kids getting them now. That was my shower thought, and I kept thinking, like, when did the whole participant ribbon and participant trophy thing even start in the first place? So I did a little Googling, all right? And I looked on Wikipedia, and it says here that a participation trophy is a trophy given to children, usually who participate in a recreational sport without requiring their success in competition. Until the late 80s, recreational sports participants wore club jackets and were issued a participant crest at the end of each season. The tradition of club jackets faded away in the late 80s, so clubs switched from handing out participation patches to trophies. So, it seems to be the late 80s, and before that, there were the jackets, I guess. Reading that, it reminds me of people that went to college, but they never really did anything once they graduated. It's like their peak of their life was going to college. And for the rest of their lives, they wear the college jackets, the college socks. Like that is just, their identity. Me, I will never be seen caught dead wearing the broadcasting school jacket or emblem or anything that I went to, because I've done far better things after graduating from that dump of a school to ever be proud of that. I went to that college, and after graduating that and getting my first job in radio, all of the stuff that I learned in that college meant nothing. It was absolutely nothing there that prepared me for what I did on day one when I actually walked into that radio station and got into that studio. Like, all of the editing equipment, all that stuff was right out the window, and I had to learn from scratch. So if there's any patch or club or team that I would root for, it would just be for myself, and that's it. So let's continue with this article from Wikipedia. The term may be used more generally as an example of the celebration of mediocrity or of emotional coddling. In this rhetorical context, it is frequently associated with millennials, those of Generation Y. The change from patches to trophies has caused some controversy. Critics argue that they promote narcissism and entitlement among children to whom they are given, and are based on incorrect assumptions regarding supposed psychological benefits of self-esteem. Critics also note that some children also do not value them as much as they do normal trophies that are given to winners. Exactly. Like, I was given a participant ribbon in the 90s, and I was just like, but I want a medal. I want to know that I actually, ranked. I don't want this. This is an embarrassment. It also says that there was a backlash against participation trophies in the 90s, and one of the earliest known mentions of the term participation trophy occurred on the 8th of February, 1922 in Massillon, Ohio, in the newspaper The Evening Independent, where an article announces a high school basketball tournament. And it says here, people who argue for the participation trophies claim that it makes a kid feel good about being on a team or participating, competing, and having fun. They don't feel left out or less than their peers who won the league. It makes every kid feel special and raises their self-esteem. Parents feel good about it, and the child feels good about it. It also increases the odds that a child will want to return to play other sports and get another trophy. All right, so here is my opinion on participation trophies. I really don't care. It does not affect my life one bit. And I think that's how a lot of people should live their lives. If it's helping somebody else, helps their kid get out of their room and get into a field, just be social with other people and get out of their shell, go ahead. Yeah, give them all the participation trophies, whatever. It's far better that than a kid just sitting in his room and thinking he just sucks. Like, is that what this older generation wants? Like, oh, you shouldn't have back when I was a kid. I guarantee you, if you could go back in time and see the older generation that are complaining about these participation trophies and seeing how, I'm sure they probably had the same self-esteem problems and everything else. But I really do feel like it's just some older people being grumpy, and they see something that is different than how they grew up, and it bothers them. Like me right now, I'm in my mid-30s, and I am seeing just a whole new generation coming up with all their new things and the music and whatever. And it's like, yeah, I understand that, man. I feel like I am getting old because a lot of this new music is pretty much the rap. It's not NWA. It's not Two Live Crew anymore. It's some guy crying. Am I going to sit there and say, that isn't real rap music, you need to listen? It's like, no, that is just what that generation is. And is everybody in that generation listening to that same music? No, they're not. There's a lot of young kids that are playing old boomer rock from the 70s and wanting to learn Boston More Than a Feeling on guitar still. It's a very, very small niche group, but still, you can't rag on a generation before you or after you or anything, because we are all living in this moment together and we're all just trying to figure out what we're doing. Now, what do psychologists say about participation trophies? It basically says that people that argue against it say it's keeping kids from knowing what the real world is like. But psychologists say that kids are already bombarded with rejection and feeling bad about themselves right off the hip. So getting a participation trophy and then learning afterwards that the world is bad and you will be rejected and looked down on, it doesn't really matter. I feel that kids that grow up with families and the families like tell their kids, you're the best, more than any other kid. You know what your grandpa did? You know what your father did? You know what your uncles did? Yeah. I think that is far more entitling to a kid than any participation trophy. Like the way they're brought up in the house is far more effective than getting a ribbon. Thinking about all this, it makes me go down a deeper rabbit hole psychologically, to where you got to disassociate yourself from any external thing, from your family, your friends, what people give you, the compliments, the negative stuff, and just disassociate yourself from all that. Get out of your head, get out of your body, and look at just everything from like a third person perspective and realize, okay, I'm in this world. Things need to get done. Some people are bad, some people are good, but that's just the way it is. And no amount of inflating your ego or deflating it or whatever should affect you. You should just go about whatever you're going to do with the best intentions possible. But I think that the people that get upset over participant trophies have no other thing to do in their lives but complain about just things that have no effect on them whatsoever. I think that's what it really does come down to. And I could be wrong about that. There could be some huge epidemic that participation trophies cause, mass craziness. But I hardly doubt that. I really do think it's more that people grow up with an inflated ego from family members building them up when they haven't done anything yet. Yeah, your grandpa was a pilot, so you're a lot cooler than that kid. Their grandpa, what did they do? His grandpa drove a bus around the city. My honest to God opinion on old people that get upset about participation trophies is the fact that it's kind of like when you're a geek in high school and you got no chicks and you're jealous. So these old people that never got anything when they were growing up, hey, they're not supposed to have a trophy. I didn't get one. So they... It's like, did you want a participation trophy in the 1960s when your baseball team lost the Hudsonville Little League World Series? Is that what broke your heart? Is that you've been carrying all these years, and that's why you're grumpy and you spend all your time in the garage drinking Miller Lite? Anyways, it's fun just to see how people just get upset about stupid things. Anyways, peace out, guys. Take care. Have a good day.